Well, good Sunday morning and happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you so much for watching Beyond the Headlines. For Rio Bravo residents, it's been 3 races, 3 years, and now a $30,000 bill just for this year's election alone. But will the third time be the charm? All this to determine who will be their mayor. Take a look at how we got there.
We're not hiding nothing from the community.
That's Gilbert Aguilar, the on-again, off-again mayor of Rio Bravo. He's also currently a UISD board member representing District 1, which includes Rio Bravo.
The fact that we've been there for the community and the fact that the community, I can attest that they're 100% behind our work.
But that's where the problem lies after longtime UISD board member of Rio Bravo, Ricardo Molina, passed away. UISD appointed Aguilar to fill the seat in February of 2023. At the time, Aguilar was serving as mayor of Rio Bravo, just having been elected 3 months prior in November of 2022. Not being able to serve in both capacities by statute, he chose to accept the UISD position and step down as mayor. 9 months later, though, he changed his mind and filed again for mayor.
So I decided to run because there was unfinished projects and there was no other candidate that could really run.
In fact, there was one other candidate who did throw his hat into the ring, Juan Garcia, the two having faced each other in previous races for mayor, Aguilar always taking the win, which was the case again, Aguilar winning his seat back in the November 2023 race. But he never got sworn in.
Long story short, Mr. Aguilar could not take the position because there's a lawsuit in session, and you know courts take pretty long.
Amanda Perez, city commissioner, filling in as mayor, telling us about a lawsuit filed by Garcia after he lost the race, citing residency issues with Aguilar, prompting Aguilar to forego being sworn in as mayor.
Brings a problem for the city of Rio Bravo. What happened was that I called the Texas Attorney General. They said no, he only has 30 days to fill the position.
And by not taking the oath in November, the city once again finding itself without an elected mayor, needing to once again foot the bill for yet another race. Well, in just a few months, it could be over, but that race will be expensive, and it will add to the grand total. To put the running tab into perspective, in 2022, the mayor's race cost $1,000, while 2023's race cost $6,500. With May's race, the one coming up in 2024, it's going to cost a whopping $31,000. All that at taxpayers' expense. Now, in total, that's almost $40,000 in the last 3 years. Now, in May, Rio Bravo could turn the page with a new mayor when Amanda Perez Aguero and Juan Garcia face off against each other. It all comes down to that one race with 2 candidates for the 3rd time, all to determine the next 4 years, we hope. And it's the cost of these races, of course, that are being questioned. Making up this morning's panel, Luis Villarreal, general manager of KGNS, and we've got Sergio Mora, KGNS political contributor. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us.
We didn't get the memo
morning.
on the green, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, so, you know, we started getting some calls into the newsroom from residents of Rio Bravo questioning why they've had 3 races for mayor in the last 3 years, one in 2022, one in 2023, and now they're going to have another one in 2024. Theoretically, a mayor's race goes for 4 years, so that would be 12 years of someone serving as mayor. But, you know, we've just had this back and forth with, you know, the mayor of Rio Bravo.
So I guess there's a couple of things here. First, the cost associated with this for a community like Rio Bravo is pretty significant.
Staggering.
Now, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but do they have to use the elections office to go through this? Can they not gather the voting people in the gym of a school and do all those for this person, raise your hand, all those for that person, raise your hand, and get it? I mean, you laugh, but I mean, it's like, why do we have to have such a expensive and formal process? Is there anything in the law that requires them to do that?
Yes, the Secretary of State certifies the machines so that they all are are safe and
Yeah, I'm doing no machines though.
and all that. And so what I'm getting at is that they have to adhere to certain standards. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, Rio Bravo does not deserve this. And holding a municipal election in May, Laredo used to hold them in May because of the dramatic turnout. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about cities that still do it, like San Antonio, like their turnout is like 10% or something
Wow.
like that. So to have one in May in Rio Bravo, like the turnout is going to be extremely low. You obviously want to have your elections coincide with the rest of the counties. That way the cost is
Divided up.
shared
Sure, right.
between the entities, and for Rio Bravo
Right.
to foot the bill by itself.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so going back to the cost, Mindy,
Right.
why could they not have had? Well, obviously you can't have it because there's not a primary; it's a
Yeah.
It's a special
general
election,
elections.
yeah.
So could they not wait until November and have it with everybody else?
Well, I think that they've had a vacancy for extended periods of time, and I don't think that's I don't know the legalities of it, but I mean, I don't think that a community can go for long periods
long.
of time with just without a mayor. But I mean, it sounds like Gilberto needs to pick which
Pick
one
one.
he wants to do, man, because I
Yeah.
mean, ultimately, the citizens of Rio Bravo are the ones that are suffering, and I mean, also UISD. I mean, there's been a lot of controversial issues consistently with the cleaning contract with the superintendent and everything. He's been involved in all of those. So I mean, we need like just clarity on like, hey man.
So what is that clarity right now, Mindy? Is
Yeah.
Gilberto a board member or is he running for mayor?
Right. So right now he is a board member because since he didn't take his oath of office
can still be a
30
board
days
member.
after he got elected in November of 2023, the Secretary of State pretty much says that's null and void. You didn't take the oath of office within 30 days of getting elected, you are no longer in that elected position, regardless of what it was. So, you know, he's a board member now. A UISD board member remained there. And then I was going to mention the reason why the costs were so high. Obviously, like I said in the story, it was shared. So in November of 2022, there were a lot of races. So Rio Bravo's bill was only $1,039. And then a year later in 2023 of November, it was Rio Bravo and the city of Laredo. So that cost went up to $6,500, but still nowhere near the $31,000 that the Webb County Elections Office is projecting. And the reason why it's so high is because according to the officials there, they have to have 2 polling places. So they have to have the Billy Hall Administrative Building by law, because that's the headquarters, and then they have to have at least 1 polling place in Rio Bravo. Both of those locations have to be open a certain amount of hours
Early
and have
vote.
to have 5 employees per site, plus they have to meet the American Disabilities Act, so they have to have all the ADA compliances in place, including ballots in Braille. They have to have mail-in ballots, early voting. So it's a big, you know, it's a big expense. Exactly. So being able or having to do it on your own, because nobody else is holding races on that day, which is May 4th, it's a big expense for this tiny community, and it's taxpayer money. So,
Well,
you
there's
know.
one more. I know we haven't brought this up in a long time, but that's one more argument for my utopic idea of
What grinds your gears?
no, a web / or dash Laredo / Rio Bravo entity, and and have one entity.
Have
in our
Laredo
region.
absorb those
Have-
communities?
and Webb County become one entity like Miami-Dade is.
Okay.
And you know, not have a city and a county and maybe just join them both and encompass the whole area. I mean, we're so isolated from everywhere else that, I don't know, to me, there are some significant cost savings. But anyway, that's a
Yeah.
conversation for another day.
Oh, I think that also, I mean, this is not the first instance of the political leaders holding more than one position. And I mean, there's plenty of people that want the opportunity to serve, and this guy's taking up two positions, man.
But, you know, but it also brings up the idea that it does take a lot of money to run for office.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
And or in this case, even to defend oneself,
defend himself.
from a lawsuit or whatever. I mean, being a public servant is not cheap, and unfortunately, that pushes some people that are
Wanting to do it.
wanting to do it or probably very well qualified to do so.
Well, I mean, you also have, like, for example, they've been seeing the drama, the long drama of the Daisy Campos, Richie Rangel deal, and then they're
Right.
seeing lawsuits for residency, and yeah, I could see how people are like, I'm not getting involved
Yeah,
in
you
that,
just get
man.
you get disenchanted. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's
Well,
unfortunate.
Well, I know the Webb County Elections Office was trying to look at maybe some options of maybe perhaps being able to lower the cost somehow, but I know they've already sent out the first contract.
Installment or
Yeah, the
contract?
first contract with that amount of money, so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening, and, you know, we will be there on May 4th covering the race, and hopefully that mayor, third time's a charm, hopefully that mayor is there for 4 years. Okie doke. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap the news out of Washington, including the State of the Union address. Stay with us. Well, out of Washington, President Biden addressed several topics during his third State of the Union address, and after that, catching heat from our local representative, but in approving remarks. Congressman Henry Cuellar could be seen and heard congratulating the president a few minutes after he finished. Now, during his speech, President Biden addressed issues including wars, border security, and reproductive rights, carrying extra significance in an election year. Yet the State of the Union did not go without a hitch. From the left, groups slammed Biden for referring to a suspect in a Georgia killing as an illegal, and then from the right for apparently fumbling the victim's name when pressed by a Georgia representative. In response, the rebuttal remarks coming from Alabama Senator Katie Britt. And just wanted to mention also that both President Biden and former President Trump have already shored up the number of electoral votes, so they will be going into November's race.
Of delegates.
Delegates, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of
yes,
delegates.
so I'm sure both of you all have some opinions on how the State of the Union went.
Well, I'll let you go first.
Well, I think I was very pleasantly surprised in that Biden just showed what we know that he has is just.
Well, they gave him a shot right before it started.
Well,
propped him up.
I mean, whatever they gave this guy.
Yeah, they gave him a little shot of B2 or B12. Or,
Because he nailed it. He really. I think that the main issue that had been dogging him, which was of his age and just his ability to communicate, I think he dispelled those rumors and so it was a huge, just for that, it was a huge win. And I think he obviously explained his policies really well. He explained the progress that has been made under his administration, which is also something that the administration has been attacked ferociously on, in that, hey, the statistics are really good, but you guys aren't selling your message. You guys aren't selling your accomplishments. And I think that that was just, I mean, that writing of that speech was just perfect for the hour. It's one of those events in campaign history where you say, here's where the momentum changed.
I didn't see anything in the speech that would make me change my mind as far as his ability to pivot, react, or do anything. He is a person, and I mean, I have nothing personally against President Biden, that did a good job in reading a speech that he probably practiced for 2 weeks prior to it, because he hadn't had any activities because they don't take him out to do anything. So he has spent 2 weeks preparing and practicing getting up and getting down and pronunciation and all that.
That's what I think the stereotype that he's trying to dispel, and that
he did a good job. He did a good job, but I mean, how long did it take him to practice? I don't know.
No, a lot,
So,
obviously.
But seriously, I mean, I think I got through. I think I must have tolerated about half of it, maybe 2/3 of the entire address, and not because of him, because I feel the same way with all of the speeches. I mean, these things lack substance because it's all about, grand
It's a
projects.
ritual.
It's
It's a
it's
tradition.
let's just
Yeah.
talk about the things and promises that are made that you can't possibly keep. You set goals without saying exactly how you're going to get there. You do all these things, and that's what it's for, right? And in this
Honestly.
case, well, it marks his, the start of the campaign.
He needed
for
a
him.
win. He needed a win, and
He
he
did.
got it.
Yeah, he
and,
did.
And Luis, I mean, it goes back to what we've been saying, but he's out there a lot, and I mean, if you listen to him in one of these hour-long speeches before trade unions or anything, he's sharp. He knows what he's talking about. He's a smart guy.
Nobody's saying that he's
unscripted. But the thing is, if the media is following him for that moment where he's gonna have a Biden moment.
Well, that's just it. The media doesn't follow him enough to.
No, they
show
focus.
that.
They focus on those moments that are a tiny bit of this guy's day. The guy's president of the United States. That's insanely
Look at his agenda,
demanding.
Sergio. Go back for
That's
the last.
insanely demanding. George Bush would make the same mistake.
Oh, he would make, but they would be funnier.
Well,
But if you take a little time and go and look at his daily agenda over the past 30 days.
Yeah.
And you look at the activity. You talk about him being the president of the United States. Really, take a look seriously at his agenda over the last 30 days, and it'll show you how little activity there is going on in his day-to-day.
But I mean, his administration.
He's surrounded by very good people that do what he needs them to do. But he himself, listen, I don't think you or anybody can argue that either one of these two individuals is ideal age-wise.
Yeah.
Or another.
That's a whole nother argument. Yeah, this
and
is
so,
what we have.
I got scolded last week by somebody saying, hey, listen, stop complaining. You have a binary choice. It's not going to be one or the other. So
Or RFK Jr.
stop wishing for another alternative. You're not going to get one. This is
my
it.
question, though, is everybody after the speech all talked about how this has invigorated his campaign. He showed the world that he's got what it takes to lead. But why did it take a State of the Union to do that?
Well, because it takes a lot of practice, and then after this, it went down into the hole again, like the groundhog. It just came out, did a good thing, go back.
Biden the entire time, that's my thing.
It's the pressure. It's like, hey man, like you either pull out a win tonight,
sink or swim, or the what is
orange
it?
man
The
is
come,
back.
the come to Jesus meeting. And you
exactly.
have to do well. You know.
I don't think there was anything in that speech that convinced people that were on the fence to go back onto the camp.
Well, I want to
think
ask.
it invigorated his base. I think it invigorated the party to a certain degree, but I don't think it was successful in bringing anybody else
I think
on the
that a
fence.
lot of people had the same ideas that you have of him, and they watch because it's a very highly rated event. Obviously, that's an opportunity because there's so many eyeballs. All the networks give you the time. Everybody's on you, so it's the perfect opportunity.
Right. Well, in the time we have left, guys, I need to ask what y'all thought of Katie Britt.
Britt.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
I could relate to a lot of the things that she was saying, only because she talked about being a mom and being a woman, being a mom, and all that. So yes, there are a lot of things there that were very relatable. For me, though, it seemed as if she was auditioning for Little Theater. I mean, she just had the facial expression. She had the.
But it was not consistent. There was a lot of Katie Britts, throughout the speech.
So a lot of people are referring to her response as being cringy. It was just too cringe, and some people just couldn't even get through it.
Saturday Night Live.
The Saturday Night Live.
I think
funny.
It unfortunately highlights the disaster that it is the Republican Party at this time.
Yeah.
I have nothing against her. And I think in some parts, I think she did a good job. But if that's what you got, I think it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought up auditioning, and she is auditioning.
She is auditioning.
She is auditioning.
To be the next big
to
thing.
be the vice presidential pick.
Wow.
And so that's why she obviously was a rising star. She's young. She's the youngest Republican woman ever to be elected to the Senate. And she apparently toes the line real well between the old school Republican Party, you know, the Chamber of Commerce types, and you also have to kiss the Trump ring. And she does that, and so she's trying to play these different roles, and the pressure was on, and that's how she performed.
Yeah, you know, and like Luis said, there were some parts that were very relatable, and I could completely agree with her, you know, after school and moms and trying to juggle everything. But then there were just some parts that were so over-exaggerated and you just, and so condescending, and I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Oh,
but
And so you don't think President Biden was condescending at all?
I just thought that hers was a little more
Biden had fun,
theatrical.
which is something that also.
I still want to know what they
Hers
gave.
was very
I still want to know what they gave him
Yeah.
before the.
You want to order a box or what?
Yeah, I want to see. We could use some of it.
a whole lot of B12. Okie doke. Well, thank you guys so much. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to take a look back at the week and the one thing our panelists cannot stop thinking about. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start with everybody's one thing. Sergio.
Late last week, one of the most famous, most visited websites in the world was all of a sudden taken down in Texas. And that is the website Pornhub, very popular. And basically what happened was the legislature passed legislation in the last session that basically requires companies like Pornhub to have age identification mechanisms where a user has to have enter a government ID to access the site. So basically, Pornhub said, you know what, we're not doing that. We don't think it's an effective way. And while we're shut down, there's all these other websites that are still operating. So obviously this doesn't work. So it's in the Court of Appeals. This is Ken Paxton sued Pornhub. And so it is turning into a big free speech sort of case, like these cases usually do throughout history. They're on the forefront of free speech.
Wow.
So Texas versus Pornhub is is what blew up.
Awesome. Hey, so moving on to mine. I was actually in Washington the week of the State of the Union and visited Capitol Hill and met with a few lawmakers. And what I can't get out of, that's your good friend, Senator Cruz. But what struck me is, and I get to do this trip once a year, and the age of the staffs of our senators, congressmen, and oh my God, look at the glasses. You know, they are so young, and in so many cases, they are the ones behind everything that's happening. They're the ones that are actually making things happen. So it's just the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, funny story. One of the staffers was trying to kick us out of Senator Cruz's office because he was late for something, and he's got a deer head in his office. And I asked him as I was walking out, "Is that your trophy, Senator?" And he says, "Yes, come on over." And he sent me to another room and showed me some pictures. He had harvested it in Ensenada anyway, but the staffer was really upset that I had taken the senator away from his schedule.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I've been a staffer before, and it is our job to keep your member
this staffer was
on
not happy.
track. So, yes, bad Luis.
Sorry.
Well, my one thing has to do with Habitat for Humanity. The Women Build event, it actually took place earlier this month, so I just wanted to give a big shout out to all the women who went out there to build not one, not two, but 3 homes. Also wanted to talk about a separate fundraiser that Habitat is doing where they are asking for sponsors to donate money to sponsor a square footage or square feet of the home. So individuals, it's $50 per square foot. Actual companies have done, you can see like IBC sponsored the whole bathroom of this one home. Individuals, you get your name on the square footage.
Awesome.
Winfield Communities donated the back patio. And I just think that that's really cool. So anybody out there interested in doing something like this, especially a company that might have deep pockets, you can call Carol Sherwood or Cindy Liendo, the number right there, 724-3227. It was such a great event. So thank you to all the women out there, and kudos to Habitat for Humanity. Great job there. So that's all the time we have. But hey, our shout out to St. Patty's Day, everybody.
St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you right back here for another edition of Beyond the Headlines next Sunday.
I cannot believe I just did.